Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another scene for the living world of darkness, rage across New York. We'll set the scene finally back at the Secret Pack House, where after they're delving into the hellhole and having spent time, some small bit in recovery, some doing various duties around the sept, 10 is well aware that the rest have, for the most part, gone home, or at least been through there. And, well, until now, she hasn't had the nerve to walk back through the door. It'll be tonight, finally, that she comes to the door, pulls out the key, lets herself inside. Thankfully, Sheila's car isn't there, which gives her some small semblance of ease, and that she doesn't have to worry about her popping out and engaging in social niceties. No, she just slips inside, closes the door behind her, locks it as a matter of habit, and just kind of takes in her surroundings for a moment, just plants her feet in place, looks around, recognizing the wallpaper, various paint colors, recognizing various items that are just dropped by the door as people come and go, the smell of the house. She hasn't been in there since Jessica passed. So there's a brief period of adjustment. A period that is made somewhat easier by the fact that she only just was confronted with an image of the lost kinfolk and forced to come to terms with the loss and prioritize it and set it aside. It still aches, of course, but certainly nothing compared to how bad it was prior. So she'll finally start walking inside, barefoot. The weather's warm enough for it. Hands reaching out, touching a chair rail here, touching a side table there, and just wanders inside, eyes flicking, not necessarily searching per se, but just kind of staying aware. After all, she's fairly sure Aiden is back home.
I mean, if she looks hard enough, she'll see the silhouette of his door open, and she might see like maybe the flash, like the slightest glimmer of a cigarette light. You know, the kind of light when someone takes a drag.
Mm-hmm. Glow of the cherry in the dark.
Yeah.
And yeah, she doesn't hurry herself any more than she did prior, but that is the way she weaves, going through the living room, glancing past the kitchen, finally into the hallway. And with the door open and the telltale glow there, there's no need to meander this way or that. She just kind of goes straight for her goal and lets herself in. The door's open after all, and oh, Sheila's not here to complain about her being in the room. Don't
I
know,
mean,
she
yeah.
just
He,
walks in.
he seems to be just rubbing his eyes, taking a drag of the cigarette. You see the plume of the smoke. There's like a silhouette. He seems to be just lying in bed, well, sitting up in the bed. He's shirtless, and you could definitely see he's got like maybe shorts on underneath. Maybe he was working out earlier. Then he just seems to be just resigned to himself. His hair is wild and out everywhere. You can tell he showered, but he just seems to just stare out oddly at everything, kind of just very absent-mindedly.
Does he make any point of acknowledging her as she comes in?
Oh yeah, he sees you and kind of just registers that you are there, but he doesn't like go, oh hey 10 point, that type of thing.
That is fine. The fact that he's registering is a good sign. No, she doesn't make it any stranger herself. She simply walks in, crosses the room, and finally sits on the side of the bed. Takes a glance over. Well,
Hmm? Yeah, like he says, mid like inhale.
She actually, like, she's reasonably comfortable. I mean, admittedly, if Sheila was there, she'd stay out of the room. But Lord knows she has been in there before. She's not shy of sitting on his bed. She'll pull her legs up, tucking her butt back a little further onto the mattress, and finally pivoting around to hunt after his eyes, looking to actually get his attention.
I mean, she'll meet his eyes every now and again. He doesn't exactly look you in the eyes. He seems just to dart around the room every now and again. But he does respond. He goes, "Hmm."
Raya, what were you doing?
What you mean?
Back in the hellhole.
What are you on about?
When time came for Simon to have a chance to right what he'd wronged, when time came for us to go,
And he didn't.
you stopped.
I did.
Why?
Someone had to.
She didn't want you.
Didn't matter.
She wouldn't
Some
have stayed and fought you, Raya.
someone had to.
Not someone. He had to,
Well, he didn't. 10 point.
and he failed.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have engaged you the way she would have him.
Wouldn't have mattered.
Exactly.
Everyone would have got out safe.
She wouldn't have stopped, Raya. Not for you.
I would have made her stop.
You were not her target, Raya.
I would have made her my target. 10 point.
You can't force a creature like that to change its mind about
I
what
would
it
have
wants.
told her that I gave the Simon the order not to help her.
I don't know if you noticed, Raya, but she wasn't exactly rational. I don't think it would have worked.
It would have. I was prepared to make that sacrifice because nobody else made that for her. No one. No one else did. Do you notice the
Jessica did.
first? Yeah, and she's dead.
That's not the point.
It is.
The point
No
is
one
that
else,
she was willing to.
not any other guru, did anything. The first thing Jacob Clay did was he wanted to get fucking research. Not a single person gave a shit about her in there, in that cage.
Not a single one.
None of that pack did. They were her. That was their kin.
I don't know that she was ever even officially claimed. I haven't looked into it yet.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. But that was not your hill to die on.
And what would have, and all that Bill of Rights and all the things we've done and have bled for and some of us have died for would have meant nothing if someone didn't stand and do something.
We did as much as we could,
It
right?
wasn't
Without his
like
compliance.
he'd slam. It wasn't good enough.
It wasn't. But that was not your hill to die on.
What kind of wormful would I be if I didn't?
What kind of wormful will you be when you're dead?
At least it would have mattered. At least the kinfolk would have known that we give a shit about them.
And who would have told them?
They would have heard about it.
Do you think the Striders would tell the tale well? Or that I would actually go back if you stayed?
Looks out the window.
is where she does something somewhat uncharacteristic. And particularly as he makes a point of looking aside, we'll reach out, not forcefully, but we'll reach out to try to take him by the chin and turn his face back to hers, leaning in, making a point of making the eye contact.
He'll stare at her then when she does that.
Don't do that to me again, Raya.
What?
Don't do that to me again.
Why not?
A good death is a good death, but that would not have been a meaningful death. You would not have stopped her. She would have flown past you. She would have called her minions to tear you apart as you stood back, and in just no time. And I would have died right alongside you.
Someone would have stood for her.
And we will stand for her, but we will do it in a way that makes a difference.
She's gone now, 10 point.
The point can still be made.
You saw the reaction of when I made the point. They didn't even give a damn. More interested in who challenges who.
And we will see how well that serves them when it comes down to the opinions of the elders. We are not children, and this is not a game of no, you challenge me.
I did my best.
You did. Of course you did.
They left her there.
Her hand is by now softened, so it's not actually holding his chin anymore, though her thumb grazes over his cheek. They did.
We're not supposed to do that.
They aren't. It was wrong.
And yet, I'm the one who they like to scream at and shout at. If it wasn't for me, they would have never have done anything.
They wouldn't.
And
now they will be held accountable. And that doesn't change what happened to her. And it doesn't make it better. And it doesn't make it right. But we will fix it.
And all the things we fought for in that hellhole are now wasted. We should have had more time.
Oh, yeah.
We knew it was coming back.
It was already there, Raya.
We had a chance to build.
It has a new body. But it was always there.
You're missing the point. It has a new body now, and it's going to grow faster and quicker. We could have had time to prepare while it was searching for one. And now, one of our own deliberately gave it a new body.
It already had a body, Raya. But she was in greater pain than it was, I'm sure. And it was attracted into her.
We've just fed them. All those people, all the things we did in that hellhole now mean nothing.
It does not mean nothing, Raya. It is still weaker than it was.
It means nothing if we have people who are doing that. The entire point of what all those people in there died for.
One man's moronic mistakes does not unmake the sacrifices of so many.
One man's mistake can cost us everything. That hellhole is now going to aggressively expand. I guarantee you it will.
Is it, Raya?
Yeah. Because that's what they do.
It has been trying to expand since the moment we walked out of it, Raya. There's the nature of it. It's a cycle.
And now we've just fueled it a bit more. And now it's not going to stop.
And if it wasn't her, it would have been someone else.
We could have had time.
If she wanted a new body, they would have found her a new vessel somewhere. If not one of ours, if not one of our kin, if not one of us, then one of the many humans in the city.
But he actually grabs 10 Point by the throat then. Lightning fast. But it was one of ours. And we'd let it happen.
For
What does that?
once, yeah, she doesn't flinch, she doesn't shy back, she doesn't drop her eyes even.
We let that happen.
We didn't let anything happen. Sometimes things happen, Raya, that are outside of our control. We should have done more. But it fell on his shoulders. It was his kinfolk.
It was my responsibility. It was my burden of leadership to carry, and I failed.
It is your burden of leadership to fight the worm. It is his burden, as a guru, to look after his kin. It fell first and foremost on him. Even she understands enough to hold him responsible. Do not try to take this burden on your own shoulders.
I have to.
It's not your burden to bear.
Someone has to.
Put it on his.
And he won't.
Then he will pay.
And yeah, he'll pay and get punished, and she'll still be out there.
There's only so much I can do to end her suffering, Raya.
He won't do a damn thing.
And there's nothing he could do. If he had fought her, he would have died and become her.
At least. It wouldn't have. It would have at least meant for something. I would rather my life be put on the line than a kin's. Because they didn't do anything wrong.
Of course you would.
And the fact that I stood there and was willing to make that sacrifice means everything. It is not. I didn't want to die. I don't want to die. But what good is it if we can't stand for the things we say? What would I be? I am not a coward.
You have never been a coward, and no one has accused you of being a coward.
So don't sit there and tell me that what I did was reckless. I knew what I was doing. And the only reason I didn't do it. And I look down.
You still got her by the throat?
No, he lets go. Softly. Actually, his hand moves down softly and like intertwines with hers.
Yeah, she actually will begin to lift her hand to take it as this is falling.
Couldn't leave you on your own.
You wouldn't have.
I couldn't do it. I made a vow to protect all of you.
Yeah, I'm ready to die beside you. Just make sure whatever we die for is worth it.
I don't want you to die, 10 Point.
She kind of adopts the strangest, saddest, tiniest smile. As if it's almost... I mean, he's seen her confront it before. He's seen her take it far less gracefully. But it still seems almost funny to her to say it. I don't want to die.
That's why I couldn't do it. You can call me whatever you want or think whatever you want. I couldn't.
And her lips person for half a moment. And she, like, pointedly, like, rubs the ball of her thumb across the back of his thumb joint. Wouldn't call you anything, Raya.
It was my responsibility.
Just be careful where you lead, Raya. They will follow you. I will follow you. If you choose to stay and fight in a final stand, you will be responsible for more than your own death. You can't lead if you're dead. You can't teach them if you're dead. You can't show them the things that they can't understand growing up here if you're dead.
They had the audacity to speak to me after what they've done like that.
wonder. I begin to wonder if Jacob even knows. He's
If he
so
does,
lodged in human workings.
how could he not know? I made sure everyone heard the shame he suffers.
She shakes her head. Not disagreeing, just disappointed almost. I don't know.
And if the true catcher finds him, whatever, innocent or whatever shite, then that woman. There's no justice then, is there?
And the
All the.
warder, even the warder, knows better. The truth catcher may be a child of Gaia, but all the more reason to be harsh. Black Unicorn must be storing flames. Unicorn can be kind, but he can also be incredibly, flatly, factually harsh.
They'll look for a way to blame me and all that.
They can look all they like. They will never find any sort of reason that will hold, any sort of reason that will make sense or make them look anything but foolish. And if they try,
He
I'll tear
swore.
them down.
He swore an oath.
And perhaps I should take that to the truth catcher as well.
He swore an oath that he would do everything to avenge her death.
And he did nothing.
He didn't even stand. So, what was I to do to honor Jessica's memory?
You continue to do what she would want. The other hand finally comes up, again, looking to just gingerly cup his cheek for a couple moments, the thumb rolling across his cheekbone. Raya, she respected that you would fight for what is right, but at the same time, you did so much more, and you can do so much more.
You just shrug. I'll never be respected here, Temwood.
Perhaps not by some. You're respected by those that matter.
Like I said, after all I've done, all I did for that woman, that was how they spoke to me. When I did what
And they are fools.
what any wormful would do. What any person would do after seeing what had just happened. I wasn't even going to yell at him. I wasn't even going to attack him. Anything. I was just going to take him to the warder and go tell him what you did.
The warder respects you. The elders respect you. What does it matter if two idiots do not?
We need to be united, 10 Point. I
It does not
swore
fall on you.
I swore to the warder that I would keep the Striders in our pack applicable.
Fred, you can give and try, but you cannot force them to change. And if they are the ones who are refusing to see reason, they are the ones who will be held accountable.
We'll see. But if I was anyway in a position like the True Catcher Simon to be dead for his crimes.
But we're not home. And things here They're
There's
not the
no...
same.
If they ask to send him on some sort of heroic mission, you tell them you rail against it. He doesn't deserve to go on some heroic mission to die in. He had that opportunity and he ran like a coward.
Unless that mission is to go in and give that woman some satisfaction before he dies. No.
He's a fucking... You just shake his head. I can see why his brother would dance the spiral.
It's not so hard to understand.
Grew like that. I'm sorry for worrying you.
And she finally slides. The hand on his cheek slides around to the back of his neck, just enough to put a little pressure to bow his head forward so she can push her brows to his.
Just so lightly.
Yeah. She just rests there, brow to brow, not even like nose to nose, just foreheads touching.
Just... I have to stand for something.
And when you decide it is time to stand, I will always stand beside you.
Just tired of fighting for these ideals and then getting spat in my face every time. Just get tired of it some days.
Of course you do. How could you not?
If they offer a rite of contrition, you tell them no. You tell them a rite of contrition will not suffice. You can say they can do it all they like. They can appease whatever spirit they want to appease. I'll accept it. But if they want to truly, truly atone, they can announce the entire sept. The entire sept. What they did.
Her head adopts a very faint tilt.
Jacob
A
even...
portion of the rite of contrition is offering something to earn it. If this is what you ask,
I don't
that
ask
is
for...
what they will have to offer in order to earn contrition.
I know Jacob play long enough now that he will do a rite of contrition and consider the matter settled. I won't. I will do the rite of contrition to keep honor, but the matter for me will not be settled.
You have nothing to apologize for. And if he wishes to do the rite of contrition, then he will offer something that earns him contrition. It is not so different from atoning, Raya. A gift that means nothing to the person or the spirit that you present it to does not earn contrition.
You tell him, and if he tries to change the deal, then you turn to the true catcher. Or have Jason turn to the true catcher and make that statement. That is all I need to know. I will question his honor then. For he has none. The fact that an honourable Philodox, when I presented a fair and even challenge if he had an issue with me doing it, decided to immediately change the subject to challenge him.
He tried to play a child's game.
He did, for everyone to see. And the fact that he, instead of trying to rescue his kinfolk, decided to go look at the throne for a deal that was long since null void. Yet I am the one who causes everyone so much pain. Even tried to use Felix's memory against me. Yet he's a man of honor.
Well, she finally sits herself up. I assume they've done so long since.
Mm-hmm.
Still, she takes the hand that hers has been twined in, lifts it up, and it's not even really a kiss, just briefly presses the knuckles to her lips. They don't know honor.
I'm just tired of hearing them say it. And with this, I won't accept any other. Not anymore. There is no compromise anymore. Not with this.
You've lost enough.
The fact that this kinfolk Bill of Rights was written by the same man who chose to go and ignore the wounded kin, and let his packmate do what he did, I won't stand for it. I don't need a challenge. I'm tired of the hypocrisy of the Striders of Ice and Concrete. And the entire sept should know the same.
I'll make sure Jason's aware.
Make sure that Jason is aware of everything that Jacob did. He was there. Make sure that any information related to what Simon was doing while Magda was being tortured and turned is present. So they can deny all they want. But it's striking them right in the face.
I'll make sure of it, Raya.
Just nods his head. Make sure he knows about the oaths sworn. And if they need to bring myself and you as witnesses, I will gladly do so.
Absolutely. Even these people would not be surprised if I stood up for the kin.
He swore a sworn oath. They can do whatever checks they want to.
Oh, and I'm sure they will.
I'll be happy to
You'll
answer.
be accountable for breaking an oath. On top of abandoning his kinfolk. On top of failing to fight the worm. We did everything in our power, Raya.
And it wasn't good enough. You just stand up out of the bed.
Sometimes nothing is good enough.
Why didn't she appear?
And she finally runs out of answers and runs out of that steady eye she's held this whole time. She hasn't looked away. She hasn't dodged his face, his eyes, until now, and she'll finally let them drop.
You and Jason got what you want. You got to see them again. Even if it was an illusion. Why didn't she appear?
Perhaps the worm has no sway over human spirits that it hasn't been able to touch. Her eyes stay firmly on her hands. I didn't want to see her again, Raya. Not like that.
At least you got to see her again.
Her head gives a light shake, but she won't verbally refute it. Would you want the worm to take her shape, Raya? That's not how you want to remember her.
Like I said, everyone else got to see the things they want.
Consider yourself lucky that it didn't wear her like a mask.
He just looks down.
You should just idly reach out and won't interrupt, won't break the silence, but she will reach up. He's standing just by the bed, and she's still sitting fairly near the edge, and she'll just reach out and look to catch his hand again. Very lightly.
I meant what I said to that warmish illusion of whatever it was.
Which?
I don't have my love anymore. The only thing I have is my duty.
And the eyes just kind of fall again.
That's all I have left. My duty to you, the pack, the sept, the nation. That's all I have.
I'm sorry.
For what?
For everything.
You reach up and touch her face. I still have you.
I'll let you P&E just because I don't want to give anything away for free.
Gasp.
Which means I probably have to.
I would just roll it really quick. I have a feeling this is going to be the only roll of the scene. 2.
Yeah, 2. All things considered, she's still very close in the link, and so there is something of it's kind of like a pressure change even in the air as the talk has shifted, particularly to having only duty left. When she says she's sorry, there is a certain very sincere weight to it. It's probably a reason she keeps her head down. And even when he turns around and touches her cheek, the expression is almost hurt.
I'll twist his head. What's wrong?
She gives hers a light shake and tries to just kind of
10
turn
point.
her eyes back down to her hands.
10 point. And he lifts her chin up so she faces into his eyes.
I can't imagine even being here and feeling it. I still can't imagine what it's like to think of it only as duty.
Duty also means love.
Does it?
To me, it does. I would sacrifice everything for you, for Jason, for Saoirse, but especially you. That's what we do for each other. That is my duty, and that is the love I give as a packmate. That's my responsibility. Because if I didn't and I left you, then everything I have given myself to help you would be all a lie. I can't do that to you. Does that not sound like love and duty?
And especially with him holding her face up, forcing her to keep eye contact. Well, not forcing, but compelling her to keep eye contact. She finally stops trying to duck her chin and studies his expression closely
She
as
can
he keeps
pee.
speaking.
She
Oh,
can
she
pee.
did.
She
She
can pee me.
did.
What'd you get?
The one success.
I'm gonna give it to you. I'd say you even have a lower diff, man. You get. I would say you have a lower diff easily.
Well, in that case, even at 1 point lower diff, it's 3.
He's telling the complete truth. He believes every single word of it, like every single word.
Yeah.
It's all in his posture. It's in his eyes. It's in even the way he touches 10 Point's face. It's incredibly soft. I can never love anyone like I loved her, 10 Point. Ever.
No.
But that does not stop me from making sure that I have you and the others, but especially you, in my life. I don't want you to die. Because you're all that I have left. Of anything. You and this pack. That's a different love. But that doesn't diminish it from what I had with Darcy. It is of the same volume, but a different string.
Her hand will come up finally to rest on top of his where it's sitting on her cheek. Still sorry. I couldn't do more. I couldn't help you.
You did what you would do for the pack and for everyone.
I would do for you is more than I would do for Peg.
I know. You stroke her cheek with his thumb.
Could have tried harder.
And I'd be saying the same things to you that you were saying to me.
And she pauses and just kind of swallows. You're stronger than I am, Raya.
You reach over and just plant a very delicate kiss on top of her forehead.
For the inevitability of what will one day happen, sooner or later. Sorry again.
Don't be apologizing. It's not gonna happen. Not for a long, long time.
I'll live for you as long as I can. Until the day I can't.
Just gives her a stroke of the cheek. The anger kind of just rests against his chest, essentially, so she can hear his heart beating.
Yeah, she's not beyond slumping into his chest. And as has been established by habit at this point, hearing the thump of his heart is definitely a soothing thing. And it shifts her mood again. It's like an air pressure shift almost in the link. It's not some crazy flush of emotion. It's just something is changing. Something is shifting. And he'll actually feel her start to relax a bit, resting there with her cheek against his chest.
Yeah, he's eventually just slumps down basically onto the bed, letting her fall into his arms.
And yeah, sure, she'll probably eventually have to scramble when the door opens to the apartment, but in the meantime, she doesn't care. And she'll just flop down with him, curl up half on top of him, cheek still resting on his chest.
Yeah, he doesn't move. He doesn't seem like he even wants her to move. He just lies there.
Truth be told, that is probably where we should call it.
Yes.
Yes. So for now, we will say thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. And we will see you next time on the living world of darkness, Rage Across New York.